Good afternoon, YouTube, and welcome back once again to Fat Cat Collections. And today I want to share with you guys another great product for your home. And this is a soundbar. And this is by a company, I have to double check the name here because there's always a little bit of a language barrier here with a lot of these names and how to say them or pronounce them. The brand, I believe, is called Pheanoo. Not phenol. Pheanoo. It's P-H-E-A-N-O-O. And they were nice enough to reach out to me and say, hey, we have a new soundbar we want to share on the channel. Would you mind if we sent it out and give it a test? So I want to show you guys first off the bat before I start rambling on too much, because I do have a lot to say. This is the soundbar right here. Now I know soundbars, guys, some of you will comment on the video, well, how come you didn't turn it on, test it, we want to hear it. Guys, it is absolutely ridiculous to think that you can judge what a soundbar sounds like by a YouTube video. Ultimately, all you're judging when you hear a YouTube video is your own speaker. So as much as you guys may love to hear what this sounds like, there's really no point, because it's just ultimately going to sound like your computer speaker sound. However you're watching me on this channel right now, ultimately you're just hearing your own system. So, but this is what it looks like, and it's very basic. Let's face it, a lot of these soundbars aren't really, you don't see a lot of them that are too unique, I would say. It's basically just a big square. I'd say the size on this is probably about a 4-inch square. On the sides, you can see on the other side it's just basically blank. And on this side you have a combination of a matte finish and a high gloss finish. And on there is a couple buttons. You have your power, your volume up and down. You also have a USB port on the side, so if you want to go ahead and put media on a USB stick, you can do that. What I do like about this, there are two things right off the bat. Okay, so let me start. Cosmetically, it's pretty basic. You have just your basic front, speaker grill material. Very small logo for the Pheanoo logo right in the side there. You can see it's just a P. I don't want to go too far when it comes to what you're getting with this soundbar as far as like the cosmetics, because it just really is just a basic soundbar. There's lots of soundbars out there which try to reinvent the wheel. Ultimately, I just think clean and simple is really in the best interest of your decor, and ultimately it's how it sounds is what's most important. Now let me just, before I talk about the sound quality, I just want to go over a few more things about what I love about this and what I find interesting about this brand. So there's lots of eBay sellers, lots of Amazon sellers who basically sell the same product under different names. Now I didn't go through all different companies, that's not my responsibility. I can tell you just my experience with this brand, with this soundbar, and tell you what I think of the product, and of course just point out a few of the features. So it does come with a subwoofer, which I'm going to show you guys in a second. This is very similar to the soundbar I have by Creative Labs. I'm a huge fan of Creative soundbars. I have a Katana soundbar right here on my computer. I have another one which is comparable to the TV that I use for like previewing movies downstairs next to my 70. And let's face it, TVs nowadays, if you're buying a new TV, you really just should factor spending extra money for a soundbar, because TVs just give you the bare minimum nowadays when it comes to sound quality. They just don't sound good. You don't have enough room for an enclosure. Old big projection TVs had that big giant box in the bottom made of MDF or particle board, where those 6.5 speakers or 5 1/4, whatever they may put in the TV in those times, had basically an enclosure. And so you had a much better sound output from those speakers and much better overall quality. With a TV nowadays, with all the flat panels, they're really putting the bare minimum when it comes to speakers, because they just don't have the room. TVs are getting thinner and thinner and thinner, but they just don't have the room for a speaker. Ultimately, if you want to have a great sounding system and really knock it out of the park, you really need to have giant floor standing speakers, or something with a cabinet. Now, if you don't want to do that, and I am personally a fan of not doing that, and I'm going to tell you the pros and cons. Pros, you're going to have a very clean looking, sophisticated, sleek living room. If you wire this right, hide the wires, do things slick, okay? But you're going to sacrifice in sound quality. Soundbars are never going to sound as good as a traditional 5.1 Dolby Digital system. And there's other 5.1, there's 7.1, 7.2, Atmos, 9.2, there's all different kinds. For my ear personally, I'm just a fan of 5.1. It's cost effective, you don't have a ton of speakers, and it just sounds great. And I found that anything over 5.1 just doesn't really give me enough I guess, enjoyment to warrant spending the extra money and deal with all the speakers that are necessary to really make that system sound right. And again, even set up right, I just don't think you get enough out of it to really warrant all the extra stuff. Soundbars are a great solution if you don't want to have all those speakers. It becomes very difficult, and even in today's day and age, if you want to have a very nice looking decor, and again, this is subjective, this is my personal opinion, I don't want to see a whole bunch of audio equipment. If you've ever seen my smart home tours where I show you guys what I've done with my equipment, all my gear, all the equipment for all my systems, all my TVs is all hidden. It's either in a closet adjacent to that, to the actual mounting location. It's separate in a different closet where I've had to run wires through ceilings and attics and all this stuff. Everything's pretty hidden. Flat panel speakers. I like things to be there when you turn them on. You have the performance, but you don't necessarily, it's not the focus of the living room. Soundbars are a great way to add great sound to your TV. Again, you're not going to get the sound quality out of a traditional, well set up 5.1 system, but you're going to come very close. And you're going to get, I think, in a lot of cases, a system that's just enjoyable. My Vizio soundbar I have downstairs on my 70 in my bedroom almost sounds as good watching movies as my 5.1 system. It's not as good. Side by side you can hear a difference, but the sacrifice you have to go through for most people to put a 5.1 system in, to have it look slick, it's just a lot of times not really worth the expense and the effort, right? I can tell you that with soundbars coming out and soundbars becoming as good as they have, I probably wouldn't get a 5 point. If I didn't have already downstairs my 48 inside the cabinet, which is hidden, with a 5.1 system already there, and just had the 70, I would probably never add a 5.1 system down there, because really that room mainly is for watching movies, and the sound bars really do a great job for movies. The real sacrifice is when you're going to turn on maybe a Pink Floyd concert or a live concert where you want to have that loud, just stadium-like feeling. You just can't get it with a soundbar. At least none of the ones I've tested. I know they make some really high-end soundbars, very expensive, upwards of, like the Creative Labs Sonic Carrier. Nakamichi makes a few. I've never heard those, so I don't know if my opinions would change. But based on what I want to spend, I don't want to spend $4,000 on a system. I want to spend, maximum $300, And for this can add a lot of great performance to your system, to your TV, to your viewing experience for $100. Price point on this is fantastic. So once again, this is by a brand that I'm done rambling called Pheanoo, and this is their 2.1 system. So you don't have any kind of other speakers in this sending audio in different directions like you do with Dolby Atmos soundbars. You're just getting a basic 2.1 system. Now, unfortunately, one thing that I think that this does kind of lack is it doesn't have a center channel, and one thing that you do have an issue with soundbars is how spatial it sounds. You're packing your left and right channel pretty close to the TV, so a lot of these things really depend upon digital signal processing to kind of throw the audio and simulate what you might hear from a wider soundstage. Again, remember, there's different levels. If you're looking to just have better audio on your TV, the biggest thing you can do is just get more volume and have bass, and that's what this soundbar does. It's going to add more volume with 120 watts of RMS power. Again, always take the spec sheets with a grain of salt. It really comes down to how it sounds. I've heard subwoofers and systems out there with high RMS. Remember, higher RMS means you need more to power them. Efficiency gives you the same volume with less power. So again, you have to test these things for your own ear. You can't really take my word for it. What I can tell you, based on my experience and the price, this sounds pretty darn good. You get a decent amount of bass out of it. And let me just show you what I like about this company, and what I've always said I liked about Creative Labs, is that their enclosures, although this is a very small subwoofer of 5¼ inches, very small, you're not going to get that deep rumbling 30 hertz bass, but you are going to get definitely more bass to your track. And I have pretty much the same subwoofer on my Creative Labs soundbar, my 2.1 model downstairs, which is almost identical to this, other than the fact it's shorter. Same spec, same quality. Subwoofer is almost exactly the same size, same design. I think this is just a generic subwoofer that a lot of these brands use when you're looking at your $100, $150 sound bars. Again, this is a great system for somebody who doesn't have a lot of money or doesn't really want to spend a lot of money, but just make their TV sound better. Great example of my folks. They're not really looking to blow the doors off the house. They just want to be able to hear it and have it sound a little better. If anything, they just want very little bit amount of bass. Not anything booming, just the bass you naturally get out of your own voice. Everybody has bass in their voice, whether you're female or male. Some people have deeper bass, more bass in their voice. Again, everybody has it, and when you have a TV without a soundbar or any kind of actual subwoofer, you really are sacrificing your audio quality. You're sacrificing what you would normally hear if we were here having a conversation. That's what you're supposed to hear, not what's coming out of your flat panel TV. That you're lacking. You're lacking the bass. This is going to give you that. So again, very small, but gives you a decent amount of output. Always load this in a corner. Downside to the soundbar, it is wired, but what do you want for $100? A lot of sound systems, soundbars in the $100 price range aren't going to give you a wireless subwoofer. You're going to have to spend more. Now, price point is, it was $130 shipped with Prime. You're not getting ripped off for that price, but right now it's $30 off with a coupon at checkout. Make sure you check the box in order to take advantage of that, because at $130, there's a lot of other options out there. Again, some on par, some inferior, but for $100, this is a great deal. This is a great value for $100, getting that soundbar. It's cheaper than getting the subwoofer included with the soundbar. So again, very small. This is definitely something, if you have a TV that's not wall mounted, maybe on a cabinet, you could hide behind the cabinet. This is something you could even use almost as a stand, if you could put this under your TV. I personally wouldn't do it. I don't think that looks nice. I think a subwoofer is best hidden and tucked away in a corner. One thing you can do is what's called the subwoofer crawl. Get your system set up, put your subwoofer down, crawl around the room. I know it sounds weird, but crawl around the room where you hear the most output out of the bass. That's where you want to put your subwoofer. In most cases, it will be a corner, but every room is different with the acoustics, your furniture. I've always found putting this in a corner was going to give you the best bang for your buck. Also, change the angle. Just because the port's in the front, the subwoofer's on the side, move this around. It may not be, in your particular room, the best idea to just put this directly in the corner right next to the wall. Maybe angling it, maybe firing the port into the wall. It just really depends. Play with it. Find out what sounds best and go with it. Some people may not like that extra boom you're going to get out of corner loading a sub. Move it next to the TV. You're going to decrease the amount of output you get out of it. But for a sub this small, I just don't think you're going to be too worried about having too much bass. I'd put it in the corner. Downside, with a sub that's wired like this, you're going to have to deal with the wire. And this, I believe, is about 12 feet. Let me see what it actually says here. I don't know if it actually says it. I didn't measure it. I wrapped it back up. So I think you get about 12 feet, which is definitely enough to put this kind of off to the side. Again, what I think most people are going to do with this is load it behind a cabinet if you have your TV sitting on the cabinet. Or if you have a situation where you have a lot of glass, you can put this sideways, almost like a component. You might want to put some rubber feet on it so it doesn't vibrate and cause some noise. But if you can put this in a corner neatly and discreetly, that's going to be, again, your best bang for the buck. So it's coated in kind of like a melamine, you know, kind of what I would say about maybe quarter-inch material. Pretty thin enclosure, but you're only dealing with a 5 1/4. So, and again, what I have is this, where I have my Creative Labs soundbar, same subwoofer, same position where I tested this. It's in a kind of a cabinet in the wall, and I put this behind the TV where it's hidden, and you definitely get a little more output because you're putting it in what's like a cabinet, and you're getting kind of like a reflection of that bass. So again, it depends on your living room. You'll just have to play with it. As far as the soundbar is concerned, again, 2.1 system. What I like about this, what I have always disliked about Vizio, they give you the mounting brackets for wall mounting it, but if you don't wall mount it, a lot of people I've heard have lost those things. This has your wall brackets just right on the device. They're here. You don't have to worry about it. You leave them on. If you want to wall mount it, wall mount it. If not, you have some nice thick rubber feet to place this on an audio stand under the TV, over the TV, wherever you want to put this. As far as inputs, you have HDMI, ARC, optical, and auxiliary, and then your subwoofer out, and power cord. Pretty basic, pretty straightforward. Remote control is excellent on this. They've copied, basically, your Amazon Fire Stick TV remotes, or your Amazon Fire Stick, Fire TV, the remote. It's exactly the same, which is great because as creatures of habit. We get used to using certain remotes, and a lot of us have Amazon TVs. This is great, looks just like it. Only downside, you might get confused and have to, oh, it's the soundbar one. Again, not a deal breaker, not a big deal at all. A little bit more about what it says on their Amazon listing. As far as dimensions, it's 76 by 78 by 860 millimeters. Do the math, do the equivalent. I'd say it's about 3 feet long. You have two 2.7 inch, or sorry, two 2 3/4 inch treble drivers. You don't have anything else but that. So you have basically 2 speakers. Only downside to speaker soundbars like this is that when you have soundbars like this, you do sacrifice a little bit on the high end, the tweeter, but you're going to get decent sound. You're still going to get treble out of it, but you're not going to get those really bright highs when you compare it to actually having a separate tweeter. But nothing to nothing to really discourage you. It's going to be way better than what's in your TV now, and the price point, $100, is really very competitive. In the middle, you have a display which is not lit up at the moment because it's not plugged in. This display right here just shows whether you're in Bluetooth, whether you're in auxiliary in, optical, or HDMI. I will say HDMI ARC, I've had a lot of problems with every device I've ever used HDMI ARC. Sometimes the devices just don't get that handshake. I always really recommend, if you want a completely easy, no issue experience with anything like this, a soundbar, use your optical out into the TV, right into the soundbar. I know that having the ARC, and ARC stands for audio return. It's basically two-way communication between the soundbar and the TV, whereas optical out, same audio quality between HDMI and optical out, but optical out is a one-way transmission. So TV sound is coming out of the TV into the soundbar. ARC basically means that you're, in this case it's a little odd, but in this case what it would mean that if you had media in your USB slot, that audio would also return back to the TV. I just don't see the point. A lot of times soundbars will have ARC audio as if you're going to use this as a splitter as well, or as a switch. So you would have maybe a Fire Stick plugged in, a Chromecast, and that audio would come through the HDMI both ways. So TV sound into the device, device sound out of the device into the TV with video. So it's two-way transmission, audio, video, optical cable, audio transmission out of your TV into the soundbar. So I would really recommend using that. If your TV doesn't have, or you're hooking this up to something really old and it doesn't have optical out or HDMI, you can just go ahead and use the auxiliary 3.5 millimeter. Honestly, with something like this, I don't really know if you're really going to notice any difference in sound quality between 3.5 millimeter and optical or HDMI, because you only have a full range 2 drivers, so you're not really going to experience the extra hiss you might get. So again, if you have more information about that, drop a comment. Respectful comments are always welcome, but I think just keeping it simple with this, using it for what it is, and really that's just to not blow the doors off your house, but just increase the sound quality of your TV on a very cost-effective budget. Biggest thing, you can find sound bars that probably will sound as good for less, but you're not going to get the subwoofer. A lot of times you can find eBay specials for $50, but they're just a sound bar, and yeah, it'll be louder than your TV, but to really increase the sound quality of your experience, having that subwoofer, it makes all the difference, even a small subwoofer. So that's really about it, guys. 45 hertz of deep bass, they say ultra bass. Take that with a grain of salt. It is a 5 1/4 driver. You're not going to get really deep bass, but 45 hertz is still decent bass for most things you're going to be watching. Are you going to get that really deep low rumble you're going to get out of the 18-inch Velodyne sub? No, but it's still going to sound good. It's a smart remote with different modes. Again, easy and optional installation. I've already told you a couple of the options. That's really about it. Again, I encourage you to click the link in the description. Check out the listing. They're just going to basically reiterate what I've already told you. But again, for the price point, $130, I would have to be honest with you and say that there's many other options I think that are better. But for $99, that's pretty darn good, and I hope that they continue with that coupon, because I like recommending things that I think are of great value, and for $100, that is a great value. 4.5 stars on Amazon. So you have 254 ratings. That's a pretty good rating. Obviously, people are happy with it. So check out what they had to say about the product. I think it's great. Again, I'm very happy with the way that it sounded. Again, do I compare it with, does it produce the rumble of my Vizio soundbar that costs $500? Again, on the house from Vizio, but would I compare that bass output with that? No, that's a much better sounding soundbar. You have a center channel, you have individual adjustability, it's a much higher end soundbar, but you're going to pay a lot more for it. You're paying a fourth the price for something like this. So again, it depends on what your wants and needs are. This is something fantastic that would work for anybody who's just looking to add better sound to their TV on an extremely great price and on a budget. So check it out. Let me know if I can help you guys in any way. I want to thank Pheanoo for their generosity again in sending me this product. I hope to collaborate with them in the future. I will come back and re-review this at a later date. I'm just not. I hooked it up. I tested it. I'm convinced the sound quality is on par with my Creative Labs. Not the Katana, but the bass output would be, but the sound quality of my Creative Labs 2.1 system, which costs more. I'm not sure where I'm going to put this quite yet. I was going to replace the Creative Labs system downstairs with this for testing purposes, but I just had to kind of plop it next to it, and I'm not going to leave it there because we know I like things to look a certain way, right? And so it didn't really match my decor. What I may do with this is possibly use this as a tabletop system, but then I was thinking, and you could use it as that too, like just put it on a cocktail table, you know, against a sofa table. I mean, very discreet way to put some Bluetooth audio into your room. But guys, I have so many. Like, I can't even tell you how many speakers I have in most of my rooms. It's whether it's a Google Home, a Google Smart Home Chromecast sound. I mean, every room is just right now overkill. So I really didn't need to add this anywhere. Garage, I'm already set up. The only spot I think this might work for me where I can use it is really going to be in my backyard with my backyard TV. Only downside is this won't go inside the TV shield. TV shield has the TV in it, and there's really no room for anything else. And if you put this inside the TV shield, you still need a way to get the audio out. So I don't really want to hack up the TV shield and do anything kind of crazy. I might measure and see where the speaker placement is, and there's 2 access holes on the bottom of the TV shield. This might be okay mounting down, but then again, we run into the problem of what do you do with the subwoofer? It's not designed for outdoor use. So we'll see. I'll come if I get creative with it and try to do some kind of maybe in the ground weatherproof subwoofer enclosure for this. I'll let you guys know. I'll come back and kind of give you guys a do-yourselfer on it. I know a lot of guys have done stuff like that where they'll bury the subwoofer in a weatherproof container and pipe the sound out into kind of like a mushroom on the ground, which water won't be allowed to get in. You put a screen on it, insects, bugs can't get in there. So we'll see. It might give me an opportunity to kind of work on a little creative project here. But again, something like this, I'm just not sure I want to put it outside yet. So, and again, it's not designed for outdoor use, but I want to take advantage of it and be able to use it. So I will find the location for it in the future. Once again, Pheanoo, thank you for your generosity. Look forward to collaborating with you guys again. And if you guys have any questions whatsoever, do not hesitate to contact me. Drop me an email, drop me a comment. I'm always here to help. As always, guys, thanks for watching the content. And as always, have a great evening and take care.